And as we close our eyes in this moment of pure gratitude, surrendering to this beautiful moment that God created, understanding the wisdom, the love, the joy, the harmony, the ease, and the grace that is true with every breath each of us has the privilege of taking. How grand to be born human and understand at the highest vibration possible that God is and that unity consciousness is therefore. So it's from this vantage point that I get to declare unto this beautiful law that always says yes, that this beautiful time that we're spending together, whether it's in person here or online, is for the greater good of not just this God now moment, but all God moments of now, with every breath, for the greater good of all, near and far, stretching out, so that the words that we will be hearing from our beautiful minister with us today will be the words of God in, through, and as her. How grand is that to know the truth? And we also know the truth right here and right now, that our senior minister, steeped in ways of the mystic, and yet with feet solidly on the ground, is already so in the mind and the heart of God, manifesting in divine light, in divine right order and timing, in our high vibration, collective consciousness, in divine love and harmony. I know that we are in perfect faith, individually and collectively, that divine wisdom, ease, and grace is in every step of the process that serves the highest and best good, not only in process, but in the PER, the positive end result. And you and I can affirm and aver by saying, and so it is.
At Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont, we believe in spiritual living. Above all else, it is a philosophy that teaches us how to think and not what to think. We invite everyone to practice this philosophy by living in principle. We believe that God is all there is, and each person's relationship to God is a personal one. Every person, place, and thing, and all the space in between is not only an expression of God, but God itself. All love, peace, and beauty that is God exists within each person right now. Together we are all connected as one. Our faith allows us to apply this philosophy to our lives in every moment of every day. As we live in love, we see love revealed and flowing through the world around us. We act as citizens of this spiritual community at all times. This is how we think. We believe in God, we believe in ourselves, and we believe in you because we believe in spiritual living. We are the Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont.
Good morning, everyone. And right now we're broadcasting. So we've been here together in the sanctuary this morning, but now it's opened up to the entire world. We're broadcasting wherever people receive the signal. And we know that we draw people in just by the high vibration of this beautiful center. And I am so excited about all of the technologies that we have, right? And we have Adrian in the back with his helper this morning. She says she's a trainee, but I think she's just brushing up and getting back to speed on doing all of the technology this morning. But we're so lucky. You know, I remember this in my lifetime when if we wanted to call someone that was far away, we had to make a long-distance telephone call. And sometimes that was prohibitive. Sometimes we couldn't do that. Or maybe we could just call and say hello and that's it, right? because it was expensive. And then we had the snail mail, right? And if you were lucky and you had someone overseas, you could send it by air. Otherwise, it went by ship. Can you imagine that? And now we are instantaneously connected with everyone that's tuning in. It's instantaneous. I'm shocked by that. A few weeks ago, I gave someone asked me if we could do a prayer in a native language, and I said, of course. So I got my goddaughter in the Andes on the line on Zoom, and I said, would you record a prayer for us? So we had a prayer from the Andes that came to me instantaneously. I recorded it and sent it on to the organization. So we have all of these incredible ways of connecting right now, and it's a reminder of how we are always connected. We really don't need the technologies. At some point, we're going to realize that, and the lights are going to go on really bright, and we'll just know we are connected by the heart. This month's theme is called A Pause for Guidance. And, well, this month, did I say week? It's a pause for guidance. And we did a wonderful meditation this morning, allowing us to have that pause with plenty of silence and just that settling in to listen to the voice of Spirit. Last week, we talked about time for a tune-up. And, of course, there's all kinds of ways that we can tune up. We focused on tuning in and tuning up to Spirit. And this week's message is titled, A Playful Pause. If you were with us at the beginning of the service, you saw that amazing video that featured children from all over the world singing Louis Armstrong's It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful World. A Wonderful Life is a movie, right? The video was interspersed with children playing, and their joy in play and in song was contagious. I saw people here in the sanctuary dancing and waving their arms and doing all kinds of things in the spirit of play and just that energy that children bring to our lives. This past week, I spent time with my 10-year-old grandson, who is a master of play and imagination. Fortunately, he recruits me into his play, and we have a great time imagining the worlds, exciting storylines, and games made up on the spot that evolve through the course of play. It reminds me of how closely tied play, imagination, and creativity are. No matter how hard I play with my grandson, I always feel revived. And I'm sure those of you who play with children can attest to that energy that just fills us up and we feel recharged. Today, I'm inviting each one of you into the world of play to experience divine joy and relaxation. Remember that play is hardwired into us. For some of us, the wires might be covered with corrosion from worry, overwork, stress, confusion, or some other distraction. And just remember, those are distractions. They're not the reality of who we are. They're distracting from who we are. What I know is that we can clean and polish those wires and reestablish the connection to the flow of life. And I'll just say something. A few years ago, for some reason, I was playing with my grandson, and he was much smaller then. And we were playing, and he started to skip. And I used to skip a lot, right? I would skip to school, I'd skip to play, I would just skip all the time, right? And I tried skipping. And it was like, I lost my skip. It was really funny. It was like, okay, my mind knows I can see that skip, but my body is just not doing it. But it's true. You know, we can practice. We can clean off those wires, right, and reconnect to our skips, whatever our skip might be for you. I started practicing. I went in the swimming pool first, and I started skipping through the swimming pool. Back and forth, until I could do it, you know, easily on dry land. So it's possible. It's possible. And remember, you know, human beings are inherently playful, no matter what your age is. You know, it's not limited to children. It's not limited. You don't lose your skip at 70 the way that I did, right? You can get it back. You can get it back. You can always find it. And remember, you know, playfulness begins in the womb. Have you seen videos of babies jumping around the womb as if they were in those inflatable bouncers that people rent for children's parties? They're playing. And, you know, some people say, well, they don't know anything about play. You know, they're not developed. But it is in us. It is right in us. And that is evidence that we are wired for play. Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind and Spirit, says, you exist so that divine feeling, fire, imagination, and creativity may be expressed through you. The Spirit comes to you with a new and fresh creativity. Be yourself and express life as you find it. And that's from This Thing Called You, page 72. And there is something so magical about play that can facilitate the discovery of different divine aspects of you that you may not have noticed before. Through play, you get a chance to play dress up spiritually. Maybe you haven't had a chance to express something that is ready to be shown to the world. Play imagines it and acts unself-consciously. It helps you try on different things and choose the ones that work for you. Play is energizing and adds zest to life. One of the definitions of zest is animating spirit. I like that definition. Animating spirit. It's surprising how often we can limit ourselves by getting in the way of spirit. We might be playing it too safe and avoid taking risks when something nudges us to do something like bungee jumping, ziplining, or parasailing just for fun. And I can't say those are things I might choose to do, but something might nudge you toward that sometime. Maybe even jumping out of a plane. Maybe going up in a hot air balloon. I have a friend who, on her 80th birthday, went up in a hot air balloon. She had never done that. And she decided that was for her, and she did it. So there may be something that nudges you, and you forget about playing it safe for once. Or it could be something less adrenaline producing, like juggling. And I thought of this when I was doing this talk. And I remembered that when I was in my 20s, I met a woman who was my neighbor, and I learned a valuable lesson. I lived in a very small town. I don't know how many people were there. I'm probably less than 100. There was a post office, a couple of little shops. I lived in a little yellow house that was just gorgeous, and my neighbor who lived next door, I would see her, and she was probably in her 70s, my age now, right? I'm in my 70s. And juggling had become kind of a thing then. There were young people juggling, and juggling paraphernalia was rapidly proliferating. You could buy juggling sets of all kinds everywhere. And I think someone gave me a set from our local bookstore. So we had a lovely local bookstore in Sebastopol, near where I was living. So we were out in the yard talking about juggling, of all things. And she was game to try. She started with 2 juggling cubes. She had no coordination or control, but that didn't stop her from adding another cube to the mix. She had to be the worst, the absolute worst juggler in the entire world. And, I'd even expand that, probably in the universe. She had to be the worst juggler in the universe. And it didn't faze her. It didn't faze her. She was just out there having the time of her life. I'm sure she was imagining herself as a star performer. And she kept going, and the cubes kept flying, even though she never caught them. They were just flying everywhere, right? I think I was the retriever of these cubes, right? And handing them to her as she just kept doing this. And we laughed, and we laughed, and we laughed. And we had the best time. We really had the best time playing out in the yard at juggling. She didn't have to be perfect or even competent. She just had to unleash that animating spirit to make that afternoon unforgettable. I remember it almost 50 years later as one of the most enjoyable times in my life. It was pure play, pure play. Edward Viljoen and Chris Michaels write, spend time with people who make you laugh. Do things that bring you joy. Go to a funny movie or comedy club. Laughter isn't simply the best medicine, it is fuel for the soul. I want to add to this. Spend time with people without bias. I was in my 20s, so an afternoon with, in my eyes, an elderly neighbor I did not know may not have been high on my list of things to do. I took a chance, right? I took a chance. So I'm encouraging you to take a chance too. Drop all those biases, drop down those walls, and explore and have fun. What makes you laugh? You have something in mind? I love silly comedy movies. The sillier the better. Sometimes I'm even embarrassed to tell someone that I've watched a certain movie because it is so bad and so silly. But I love them. I just love them. And I also like that wry humor that exposes the human condition. Hannah Gadsby is one of my favorites. She's a comedian. She was born in Tasmania, which is an island off the coast of Australia proper. And she became popular in the United States when she did a Netflix special called Nanette. Some of you may have seen it. It was on a couple of years ago. It was amazing. It was amazing. And she says, had I known how wildly popular trauma would be in the context of comedy, I would have budgeted my, and she uses an expletive, stuff much better. Comedy is a way of playing through the dark. It can be, right? It's a way of playing through the dark. We get relief from telling the story truthfully and righteously and finding the humor in it. The lead of trauma is transmogrified by the creative act into gold. We all have expectations of some sort of another about spirituality, or about how to do it, how to teach it, how to live it. I love the Hasidic story of the famous rabbi who was on his way to teach a village that was interested in his ideas. It was going to be a huge event, a really big event. And each Jew in the community made great preparations, pondering what question he or she might ask the wise man. The rabbi finally arrived, and after the initial welcome, he was taken into a large room where people gathered to ask their questions. There was tremendous anticipation and excitement all around. The rabbi walked silently around the room and began to hum a Hasidic tune. Before long, everyone started humming along with his soft voice. As people became comfortable with his song, the rabbi started to dance. He danced everywhere in the room, and one by one, every person danced with him. Soon everyone in the whole community was dancing wildly together. Each person's soul was healed by that dance, and everyone experienced a personal transformation. Later in the night, the rabbi gradually slowed the dance and eventually brought it to a stop. He looked into everyone's eyes and said gently, "I trust that I have answered all your questions." And that comes from John Carlson, The Odyssey of Global Healing Traditions. There is an oft-repeated saying, the longest journey is from the head to the heart. The rabbi disrupted the head trip through an inspired act. It was unexpected, unscripted, and playful. A great healing took place as a result. Meredith Sinclair writes, "Being playful is a key component of making us happier, healthier, more present, and connected in all of our relationships." This story proves her points. Everyone was connected through the rabbi's bold move to teach through music and dance. He connected with each person, and he danced each one of them from their head into their heart. I imagine the transmission of wisdom taking place seamlessly and effortlessly. When our bodies move, it grounds us in the now. It lifts the spirit. Those of you who love music and dance know that, right? When you move, or if you're an athlete, or you like walking, or you just get up in the morning and move, you are grounded in the now, in that movement. One of the exercises I had to do in ministerial school was lip syncing on stage. It was terrifying. I confess that if I could sing, you would never get me to be quiet. However, even the thought of pretending to sing makes me break out into a cold sweat. Practicing went from frustrating and trying to remember the words and putting some cool moves to the music to having real fun. It was that same move from head to heart through play experienced by the Hasidic community. By the time I performed Girls Just Want to Have Fun, I was having a great time. I was relaxed. I was in the moment. I lost all sense of, worry about what I looked like or any of that. Even though I was hardly a girl, I still wanted to have fun, right? And it was amazing. It was a great time, and it's a wonderful experience. It was freeing. I felt so free. And that's another great benefit of play. Real freedom. If you watch children playing, they are totally in that moment. There's no worry, there's no care, there's no thinking about what comes next or what came before. It's just that eternal now, and it is fun. In American culture, there is a strong ethos of evaluating a person's worth by what they produce. In my mind, productivity is highly overrated because what is generally thought of as productivity may not have the element of creativity and play associated with it. As a result of placing so much importance on productivity, one of the most lethal health risks experienced in the United States is stress. It contributes to heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, mental illness like depression and anxiety. Increasingly younger people and even children are often overwhelmed with stress. How many people have you heard express some misplaced pride in never taking a vacation or time off from work, let alone taking time for play? There is no chance for the well to be refilled when we ignore the importance of play. We have to take time to remember who we are and our oneness with Spirit. We are always worthy of esteem and respect. And in a sense, we may not be producing in this material realm, but we are producing in the spiritual realm. We are adding value. We are making the divine real. The most influential 20th century physicist was Albert Einstein. We all know who he is. We recognize his pictures wherever they appear. You may even have a picture somewhere that you keep in your home. His theories revolutionized the way we see ourselves and the cosmos. He said, play is the highest form of research. So he recognized the importance of play in his work. Are there places in your life where you have stopped the flow because you have forgotten to play? Is there an activity, game, creative endeavor, or hobby that you love, but you just don't do it because you don't have time, because of your busy schedule and responsibilities? It could be as simple as getting some friends together for a game. There are so many old favorites and tons of new ones, like throw the burrito. That's really a new game, and I'm ready to try it. And it's a board game, of all things. In this day and age, there still are board games. Maybe you want to be inspired by putting together a vision board, or maybe finish that craft project that you set aside. Maybe you always wanted to paint or draw. Whatever that is that you've been just not attending to, make that your play. This week, allow yourself to revisit those old yearnings and take the leap. Let spirit play and see your energy, joy, and zest for life grow exponentially. You may even have the added benefit of solving a problem you have been grappling with at work or home because you have taken the time to play. Remember, we were born this way. We were born to play, and so it is. Well, let's turn within. And let's take a deep breath. Knowing that God is all there is, God is the ground of all being. God is that joy. God is life. God is present in everything. It is in and through me, and I am in and through it, just as each and every person is in and through God, and God is in and through them. And I am knowing that we are those divine emanations of God, that God encourages play. God is at play in creating all of the universe, all of the cosmos, and God is always at play in this ever-expanding universe. It is play. All of the creatures that have been created, that have come into being from those divine prototypes, are play. God, the divine, acting in joy, acting in this creative impulse, fueled by love. And we are a part of that. Everything that God is, we have at the core of our being. And I am knowing that this week, as we go about what we're doing in life, we take that time to play, to remember to lighten up, lighten our load, and light up, sending that beautiful light into the world through play, whatever it might be. Just taking that pause. It doesn't have to be a long time. Could be 10 minutes of play. Could be a whole day or a whole weekend. But whatever you do, I know that it will revitalize every part of you. And in so doing, revitalizes everything around you. And I know that I am seeing each and every person in this room playing and enjoying themselves. And I'm so grateful for this. I'm grateful for the gift of play, imagination, and creativity. I release my word into the action of the law, knowing that it will not return to me void. And so it is.
Thank you for joining us for our Sunday service. Please remember to like, comment, and share this video on Facebook, YouTube, and any other social media you are a member of. To donate to CSL Beaumont, you can text GIVE to 951-420-6909, or you can visit our website at cslbeaumont.org and click the donate button at the top or bottom of the page. You can also mail your donation to CSL Beaumont, 802 Maple Avenue, Beaumont, California, 92223. Have a blessed day, and namaste.
So join me in saying, I am in a great high place. And I'm not coming down. I go forth to play. And have a great week.